YouTube, part 2. But did you manage to guess what it was? Oh, I'll know. You have to have watched it the first video to know what, to have a good guess, but it would make sense. Yes, so this is my pal Ivor's. Dun 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 dun. Know what it is yet? It's a Concorde bass. A 1984 Concorde bass. And I'll be honest, I would have bought it if I'd seen it. Not so keen on the fact it's black. But also, you notice that the scratch plate, one of the problems, you get this with Ibanez Roadsters a lot as well. The scratch plate when you've got it in the... Actually, it looks quite... It doesn't look too bad in black. But when you've got the output jack on the plastic scratch plate, you stand on it and snap the scratch plate. That's why one of the reasons why the Strat is such a good... This is so familiar feeling. Yeah, so this... The reason I've got the Concorde out is... So this is the Thunder. And as you can see, it's the same shape as the Thunder. Whereas the Concorde, originally up until 1982, was this shape. See how it's kind of wider at the bottom. There's guitar versions of this as well. And then 1983, the Concorde became this shape. Yes, the Concorde became this shape, which is the same shape as the Thunder. The original reason used for the Concorde was it was the Fendery one. So this is the Fendery one, whereas I don't actually have a Thunder guitar, but a Thunder guitar, same shape, but it would be like a hardtail bridge. It would have humbuckers with coil splits in it, and it would be Gibson scale and a 3-a-side headstock. It doesn't have this contour on it, I don't think. Maybe it does. But this one, being the Fendery one, is the 25.5-inch scale. It's got the maple neck on it, which they don't all do, but this one's got the one-piece maple. It's also got a Strat tremolo in it. And it's got coil splits, and it's available as a 3-pickup one and all that. So it's kind of like the Concorde was their Stratocaster if the Thunder was their Gibson. The reason I looked at this one as well is because the neck's pretty much exactly the same as this. It's the 32-inch scale. It's a very similar feeling dimensions. It's smallish, not super small. It's just a nice size. 32s are really good. I'm told to have some work to do this. The nut needs a wee bit of work done on it. Apart from that, it's a good bit. I think it's made of a different type of wood than that because it clearly weighs well. It clearly weighs a lot less. So let's see if it clearly weighs a lot less. I think the Thunder's ash. 3.7. Well, 3.7 is kind of distinctly average. I was thinking about 3.5, 3.6 is average for a guitar. For a bass, it's probably a bit less. This is going to be more like 4. Sorry, that's 3.17 and 3.715 kilograms or 8.2 pounds or 7.43 gins or 131 ounces. Right. And this one comes in at 4.42. So that's 4.42 I would consider to be very heavy. For a guitar, that's pure... Oh my god, this Les Paul has started to attract things with its gravitational pull, but it's a bass, so you get away with it. That's 9.7 pounds, 8.84 gins, or 155.9 ounces. Whew. Probably didn't need to know that much information. But yes, so we've got the pickup, which pretty much all my basses seem to have. The go-to... my go-to pickup, the go-to sort of DiMarzio copied P bass. It's in my Hondo bass. It's in that. It's in that. It's in. It's not in that. That's got a DiMarzio in it. It's in the Grant. It's in the Fernandez. It's in the Ibanez Roadster bass. It's all the same pickup. It's a good pickup. Don't like these knobs. The Strat knobs. Yeah. to start this band or going to have a jam with Ivor, my pal who owns this bass. He also owns a red Ibanez Roadster RB, whatever it is, 1986, which it looks exactly the same as my wee red Roadster RG145. So one day we're going to take those two guitars and I'll be playing the bass and guitar version of the same thing. Will be called the Roadsters, and we've now got a deal. We'll have to be called Flight of the Conchords because I've got the Conchord guitar, so I can play the yellow one, and he can play this, and we can both have the same bass and guitar as well. I'm not sure what other stuff he's got. Whether we've got matching, just a cheesy thing. Why not? It's so similar to the Aria. Does it have a one? No, it doesn't have a one-piece neck. Does it have a one-piece neck? No. Does that have a one-piece neck? I think it does. No. Surely. I'm not going mad. This one's got a one-piece neck. Apparently there's a problem with the one-piece neck basses, the early Conchord basses. You want the one with the separate fingerboard. Apparently the one-piece neck's twist. Don't know how true that is. But it's got there's a certain cut of wood, the way it goes against the grain, where you end up with a very familiar pattern, which I've seen on a lot of guitars that I've had. The first one I remember having, it's that Schecter, which you can't see anywhere because it's so knackered. But it's kind of like it's almost like a totem pole looking thing with lots of faces on it, and it's something to do with what piece of the tree the neck's cut out of. No coincidence that a lot of my favourite guitars seem to have that. I don't know what that means, whether it's the inside of the tree or the outside of the tree or a particularly straight bit, or whether it's just they all look like that, you just don't really notice it. See, that one isn't. Yeah. Woo! See, I'm wondering, I'm feeling a wee bit, this is a bit, when I'm playing my wee Fernandez, which I suppose, this was 84, so 3 years later, the same person might have made the Fernandez. So the Fernandez has got like a bit more of a sort of super strat shape, and it's got a pointy head, but it's got a thinner neck this way. But it's, there's something about the 32-inch scale neck which makes, I've found when I've been playing in the Sabbath band, kind of sounding a bit like Rudy Sarzo. You know, that Ozzy Osbourne later on sound where you've got that really precise and modern bass sound. You know, one where you can hear every note. There's not really, they don't melt together and there's no fuzz in it. It's dead clean and precise and compressed and all that. I keep hearing myself doing that and playing bass lines that I don't particularly like the sound of. Depends what it is you're trying to play. I'm trying to play Sabbath, so I want floppy strings. That string's a wee bit low. The action, that string's lower than all the other ones. So just quick setup on this. I was looking at, there's a picture of a car that looks a bit like mine on Facebook Marketplace, which has worked out quite well. It's kind of a little bit like, looking at the lottery numbers even though you didn't buy a ticket, that kind of thing. Whereas basically, because I've been looking at cars before I got one, they're still showing up on my Marketplace feed. Keep seeing other ones. I've not seen the one that I should have bought yet. This one seems to be the best one. Now that one there, it looks the same. It's 3 years newer, done half the miles, and it's 4 times the price. That's fine. And it might not have heated seats. Yeah, it needs to be. That string's just a wee bit low. Oh, that's is it? I've not seen that. That's definitely not normal. So it just shows you there's slight variations in these things. That's that the serial number in this is actually stamped in, as in like 3D, like if you imagine like a typewriter, like a branded, as opposed to just being singed on the surface. You know, like the way a Gibson is, it's like 3D. That's just like an ink stamp, whereas this is more of a, you know, like a 3D braille type etched stamp. Oh no, so's that one. Okay. That one's not an ink stamp either. The plot thickens. I don't think this one says on the neck plate, doesn't it? That's a neck plate one. And this one, that was a neck plate one as well. Yeah, so I wonder if it's the same place. I wonder if there was like a bass department and a guitar department in the Matsumoku factory. Could very much have been. I think the Matsumoku factory wasn't as big as you would expect it to be, considering how many of these guitars were produced. I think the factory basically ran 24 hours, 7 days a week, sort of thing. No, I would totally have bought this. I think I never didn't pay crazy money for this. I think see if it was a Westone Thunder, because it's known about more now, the prices are starting going up. Oh, Westone Thunder, they're well known to be absolutely amazing. This is, well, it's a Westone Thunder, but not actually called a Thunder. Okay, it's as I said, the differences are, let's get a maple fretboard. Well, this one's a short scale, but I think there is a full scale one as well. And it's got like a Fender 4-a-side headstock rather than a Gibson 2-a-side. Oh, it's got a scratch plate, but these things to me don't. It does make it a different bass, to this one. Yeah, I'll give it that. I suppose it's made of different wood, and this is full scale. But there would have been a full scale version of this kicking about as well. So there's not really that much in. More of a difference, I would have said, with the Thunder and the Concorde guitars, where at least the Concorde had it's a Fender scale and Strat pickups. I don't think they ever did a Thunder with single coils. Just single coils, whereas they definitely did a Concorde with 3 single coils. Yeah, so another Westone. I like this one. This is one. This is my dream find at a car boot sale for 50 quid. Totally, just this. Bits missing, beat up. This is the sort of thing I like. Again, something about the 32-inch scale is just. It's nice. It's in many ways right. I mean, I know it was Leo Fender invented the 34-inch scale as in the scale for a bass. But I think if you're less of a bass player, more guitar-y, you should have a bass anyway. Slightly smaller. But it's not, I'm not talking about the physical distance of necessarily as much between the strings. It's like, the notes are further apart, or more just the physical size of it. It's less alien feeling to a guitar player having a short scale bass. It's just a little bit more normal. But I love it. I think I've actually managed to fix that amp. I think its gigging days are over. But I was looking at it. I was trying to work out ways of doing it. I did a video later on, and I had basically spent all day, because I was sitting there going, right, I'm going to make that work. And then I found I've got an old Marshall amp, a 200 watt one from the 80s, I think. I bought off the guy who used to run the Acoustic Jam in the Cavern Bar in Strathclyde Union about 25 years ago. And I bought it cheap because he'd just stolen the fuse holder for another thing. So I paid 60 quid for it, something like that. To be honest, I don't think I ever actually gave him the money. I don't think I ever saw him again after he gave me the amp. I think he was off. He was off for a couple of weeks and then he left. But anyway, so I've got this 200 watt Marshall bass head, and it's like kind of, so it was like a rack mount thing in a container, you know what I mean? And then I was looking at it, and it kind of almost fits in there. It's like that's not quite rack mount. It's only, but see the bit at the back where you slide the amp in, it fits in there just at the very front. There's a bit where the baffle board is just like 5mm too big. So basically, what I need to do, what I was thinking I was doing, I'll take the baffle board off, cut sand 5mm off the top, put it in, then I can slot this other Marshall bass amp in, which is 200 watts, and it's got 2 speaker outputs on it as well. So that my theory was thinking there, well, I like that amp for if we're playing outside somewhere or doing something stupid. But I basically just want it for the house. And then, so I got it cheap because it didn't have a fuse holder on it. I replaced the fuse holder about 5 years ago. And then I took the actual bit that holds the fuse out and put it into somebody else's amp at some point. I fixed someone's amp, or I fixed a really expensive amp using this bit, thinking I'll buy another one. Never bought another one, so I couldn't get it working. And then I just had to try and use my big 400 watt head through that. But I've basically been at it all day, trying different speakers and stuff. And so what I've done now is I've now got an external speaker socket on the back of the amp and a speaker socket in on the back of the speaker. So I now need a jump lead to connect it up. So if it does, either half of it breaks, I can use the other half. It's either 150 watt Marshall amp head, or it's a 1x15 cabinet, or it's both things at the same time. I just think I might have. I'm not sure. See how it goes. It's still running, but I did plug that into the 3x12, like the head. Once I put the external cabinet on it, and oh my god, does it sound better than whatever's in it? The big 15-inch Eminence speaker. But I think, to be fair, I think that cabinet, one of those speakers, new, probably cost the same as that amp did with the whole thing. Probably. Those are like old Celestion Greenback G12 something. But they're a couple £100 each now. The more expensive normally sounds better. Also, it might be something to do with having more air. 3 12-inch speakers move more air than one 15-inch does. And it's also sitting on the floor, whereas that's perched on top of another cabinet. Don't know. So if anyone's ever seen anything I've got for sale and you're thinking for swapping on, and you're not really interested in trades, doesn't want any more guitars, there's some things that would make me go, well, maybe something like this would be one of them. The Westtone Paddock would be one of them. Some guy, I'm selling the Epiphone GT, someone offered me a Yamaha Pacifica, like the 300 series, and it's just, I don't need that. Yamaha Pacificas are amazing, don't get me wrong, but I don't need one. I'd maybe have something a bit different. Not that I need any more guitars, obviously, but I just, one of those things, it's like, that's kind of trading down for the guy, I think. I'm sorry, but an Epiphone Les Paul is not as good as a Yamaha Pacifica. It does look much better, I think, if that's what you're after. But any measurable way with feel, sound, weight, durability, all that stuff, it's not going to be as good. But that doesn't stop people buy a Gibson Les Pauls for $2,500. Yeah, I think what had happened was with the amp, the cable that connects the speaker that comes up round the back of the cabinet goes into the actual amp. I think that cable was dodgy, had been crushed by the back of the cabinet and moved about, and I think that's where it was going. It's just like, a partial connection. That's why when it was cutting in and out, I'm not sure the amp was cutting in and out. I think the amp might have been playing all right. It was the speaker that was cutting in and out, which I need to go back and have a look at my videos for when I was playing when it was cutting out, because I wonder, it might not have been the DI, might have been working fine. So maybe you guys watching it are going, what's he talking about? Sounds all right. It's like, quite a lot of yellow. I seem to have gone for the Bucky with the Trump orange guitar. There's a couple of yellow guitars there, and there's those safety boots, which is my box of knobs. Oh, I've got to tighten my cup, I suppose, now. It's a question, isn't it? What's going on here? Well, we might just never know. It's going into the tuner. Why is it not coming out of this? On. Okay. Well, what's happened is I've moved something when I've been messing about, and it's not. I just don't know whether it muffs or not. I don't know why the guitar app's not working. I probably just bashed something. Just check every one of these pedals is. It's not quite good. I'd be tempted to say that is coming through the amp, so it's somewhere in between the middle here. It's not. Something's not letting the signal through. Oh, do I get something there? Okay. There will be another video about how to whether it big muffs or not. Rock on, catch you later.